They say justice is blind, but what happens when the lawyer seeking it falls for the monster she's sworn to destroy? Picture this. A courtroom, the air thick with tension. Elena Reyes, 44 years old, stands before the man responsible for her mentor's death, James Hartwell, billionaire CEO of Hartwell Pharmaceuticals. His empire built on pills that turn neighborhoods into graveyards. Her hand trembles as she holds up a photograph of her former law professor, Dr. Catherine Morris, dead at 59 from an overdose of Hartwell's so-called miracle painkiller. And James? He's watching her with those ice blue eyes, a slight smile playing at his lips. Not remorse, not guilt, something far more dangerous. Fascination. This is the story of how Elena Reyes almost lost everything, her case, her soul, and her heart to the very man she was supposed to take down. This is the verdict of desire. And I promise you, by the end of the story, you won't believe where we end up. Let's begin. Part 1. The Poison and the Promise. Elena Reyes wasn't always fighting pharmaceutical giants in court. 5 years ago, she was a rising star prosecutor in Boston, making a name for herself, putting corrupt officials behind bars. She had the respect of her peers, a corner office with a view, and the mentorship of Dr. Catherine Morris, the woman who taught her everything about law, about justice, about standing up when the world tells you to sit down. Catherine wasn't just her mentor. She was family, the only real family Elena had after her parents died when she was 19. Then came the accident, a car crash that shattered Catherine's spine. The doctors prescribed Oxyhelm, Hartwell Pharmaceuticals' flagship opioid, just for the pain, they said, just until you heal. Catherine never healed. She got addicted instead. Elena watched the strongest woman she knew waste away, pill by pill, day by day. She watched Catherine lose her job at Harvard Law, watched her sell her home, watched her become a ghost of herself. And then, on a cold February morning, Elena found Catherine dead in a motel room in Southie, surrounded by empty pill bottles, all of them stamped with the Hartwell Pharmaceuticals logo, a serpent wrapped around a caduceus. The serpent got her. At the funeral, only 7 people showed up. Catherine's family had abandoned her when the addiction took hold. Her colleagues pretended she never existed. But Elena stood at that graveside, rain pouring down, and made a promise to the woman who saved her life. I will destroy them. Cut to 18 months later. Elena is no longer a prosecutor. She quit that job, walked away from the security, the prestige, all of it. Now she works for Klein and Associates, a small firm that specializes in class action lawsuits against corporations. They're the underdogs, the David to every Goliath out there. And Elena has her sights on the biggest Goliath of them all. She's built a case representing 347 families across Massachusetts, people who lost loved ones to Oxyhelm, people just like Catherine. The evidence is damning. Internal memos showing Hartwell Pharmaceuticals knew their drug was dangerously addictive. Marketing materials deliberately targeting vulnerable populations. Doctors on their payroll who prescribe the pills like candy. Elena has them dead to rights. Or so she thinks. The case is assigned to Judge Harold Brennan, a no-nonsense veteran who hates corporate malfeasance. It should be an easy win. But 3 weeks before trial, something strange happens. Senator Patricia Crane, Massachusetts senior senator and chair of the Health Committee, holds a press conference. She's a striking woman in her late 50s, silver hair always perfectly coiffed, with a smile that never reaches her eyes. These frivolous lawsuits against job creators like Hartwell Pharmaceuticals are destroying American innovation, Crane declares, her voice dripping with righteous indignation. Elena watches the press conference from her cramped office, coffee going cold in her hand. She knows what's happening. Crane is on Hartwell's payroll. Has been for years. But proving it? That's another story. Then her phone rings. Ms. Reyes? This is Judge Brennan's clerk. The judge wants to see all parties in chambers tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. sharp. Elena's stomach drops. This can't be good. The next morning, Elena walks into the federal courthouse wearing her best suit, the charcoal Armani she bought for Catherine's funeral and hasn't worn since. She needs armor today. She can feel it. The chambers are oak-paneled and intimidating, filled with law books that probably haven't been touched in decades. Judge Brennan sits behind his massive desk, looking tired, too tired. And there, sitting in the chair opposite, is James Hartwell. Elena has seen him before, of course, in photographs and news footage, in her nightmares, but nothing prepared her for the reality of him. James Hartwell is 49 years old, third-generation pharmaceutical royalty. He's tall, 6'3", with silver threading through his dark hair in a way that somehow makes him look more distinguished, not older. He wears a navy suit that probably costs more than Elena's car, and when he turns to look at her, those ice-blue eyes hit like a physical force. He stands, extends his hand. Ms. Reyes, Elena, I've heard a great deal about you. Elena doesn't take his hand. I'm sure you have. A smile flickers across his face, amused, like she's a puzzle he's looking forward to solving. Judge Brennan clears his throat. Sit down, both of you. We have a problem. Here it comes, Elena thinks. I've been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, Brennan says bluntly. I'm stepping down from the bench effective immediately. Your case is being reassigned to Judge Martha Colby. Elena's blood runs cold. Colby is a corporate-friendly judge appointed by an administration that thinks regulation is a four-letter word. With Colby on the bench, Elena's case just got 10 times harder. But Brennan isn't finished. However, given the high-profile nature of this case and the political pressures involved, the court is mandating mediation before trial. 6 months. You two will meet weekly with a mediator to attempt settlement negotiations. Your Honor, Elena starts, but Brennan holds up a hand. This isn't a request, Ms. Reyes. It's an order. If you can't reach a settlement, then you'll go to trial before Judge Colby. But the court believes there's value in trying to resolve this without putting 347 families through years of litigation. Elena wants to scream. She wants to throw something. But she's a lawyer, and lawyers don't throw tantrums in judges' chambers. Understood, Your Honor, she says through clenched teeth. James just nods, that slight smile still playing at his lips. As they leave the courthouse, James catches up to her on the steps. Ms. Reyes, Elena, his voice is softer now, almost gentle. I know you think I'm a monster, and maybe you're right, but I'd like to at least try to understand each other over these next 6 months. Would you have coffee with me? Just to talk, off the record. Elena turns to face him, and for a moment she sees something in those blue eyes. Not the cold calculation she expected. Something almost human. Vulnerability. I don't drink coffee with drug dealers, she says and walks away. But as she climbs into her beat-up Honda Civic, she catches his reflection in her rearview mirror. He's still standing there on the courthouse steps, watching her drive away. And God help her, her heart is racing. Before we continue, I need you to do me a favor. If you're hooked on this story, drop a comment below and let me know. Are you Team Elena or Team James? And don't forget to hit that like button. It helps us bring you more dramatic stories like this one. Now, back to the story. The first mediation session happens in a neutral location, a conference room in a downtown Boston hotel. The mediator is Dr. Arnold Fisher, a retired judge with a reputation for getting impossible parties to settle. Elena arrives 15 minutes early with her files, her notes, her evidence. She's prepared for war. James arrives exactly on time, alone. No legal team, no assistants, just him. "Where's your army of lawyers?" Elena asks. "I sent them away," James says, settling into the chair across from her. "I thought we might have a more productive conversation without the circus." Dr. Fisher walks them through the ground rules. Everything said in mediation is confidential. They're here to find common ground, not to litigate. The goal is understanding. "So," Fisher says, looking at Elena, "let's start with you, Miss Reyes. Tell us why you're here." Elena takes a breath. She opens the file in front of her and pulls out a photograph. Catherine Morris, vibrant and alive, at her Harvard Law retirement party, smiling, whole. "This is Dr. Catherine Morris. She was my mentor, my friend, the closest thing I had to family." Elena's voice is steady, but her hands aren't. "Your company killed her, Mr. Hartwell. Your drug turned her into someone I didn't recognize. And she's not alone. 347 families have lost people they love because Hartwell Pharmaceuticals lied about Oxyhelm." She slides documents across the table. Internal memos, marketing materials, sales figures. "You knew it was addictive. You knew people were dying. And you didn't care. You just kept selling." The room is silent. James picks up the photo of Catherine, studies it for a long moment. When he looks up, there's something in his eyes that Elena can't quite read. "You're right," he says quietly. Elena blinks. "What?" "You're right. We knew. My grandfather started this company in 1952 with the belief that medicine should heal, not harm. My father expanded it into one of the most successful pharmaceutical companies in the world. And when I took over 8 years ago, I inherited a machine that was already out of control." He leans forward, his gaze intense. The board, the shareholders, the sales teams, they all wanted growth, more profits, higher stock prices. And Oxyhelm was the golden goose. I saw the reports about addiction. I raised concerns at board meetings, but I was outvoted every time. So yes, Miss Reyes, people died on my watch, and I have to live with that every single day. Elena stares at him, searching for the lie, the manipulation. But all she sees is exhaustion, regret. "Then settle, admit fault, compensate the families, pull Oxyhelm from the market." James shakes his head. "It's not that simple. If I settle, I'm admitting criminal liability. The Department of Justice will come after me personally. I could go to prison. And the board will remove me, replace me with someone who doesn't give a damn about doing the right thing. Someone like Bradford Wellington." "Who's Bradford Wellington?" "My vice chairman. Old money, no conscience. If he takes over, Hartwell Pharmaceuticals will become something even worse than it is now." "So you're telling me you're staying in power to prevent someone worse from taking over? That's convenient." "It's the truth," James says, and there's something in his voice, desperation maybe, that makes Elena believe him. Dr. Fisher intervenes. 15 minutes. Get some air." Elena steps out onto the hotel balcony, overlooking the Boston Common. The fall leaves are turning gold and crimson, and for a moment she lets herself breathe. The door opens behind her. James. "I'm not trying to manipulate you," he says, leaning against the railing beside her. "I know how this looks. Rich CEO claims he's the good guy. It's a tired story." "Then why are you really here?" Elena asks. "You could have sent your lawyers, dragged this out for years. Why show up yourself?" James is quiet for a long moment, staring out at the city. "Because I'm tired," he finally says. "Tired of being the villain. Tired of lying to myself that I'm not responsible. When I saw your name on the lawsuit, I looked you up, read about your career, your cases. What happened to Dr. Morris?" He turns to look at her, and God, those eyes. "You remind me of someone I used to be. Before the company, before the money, before all of this. Someone who believed in something." Elena's heart is doing something dangerous in her chest, something she doesn't want to examine too closely. "Don't," she says quietly. "Don't try to make me feel sorry for you. Don't try to make this complicated. You're the defendant. I'm here for the victims. That's all this is." "Is it?" James asks, and he's closer now, close enough that she can smell his cologne, something woody and expensive that makes her head spin. Elena steps back. Yes, but she's lying, and they both know it. The mediations continue. Every Tuesday at 10 a.m., Elena and James sit across from each other in that hotel conference room, arguing, negotiating, circling each other like two predators who can't decide if they're hunting or being hunted. And somewhere along the way, something shifts. They start arriving early, grabbing coffee together before Dr. Fisher shows up. Their conversations drift from the case to other things. Books, movies, childhoods. Elena learns that James was forced into the family business, that he wanted to be a doctor, that he never got to choose his own life. James learns that Elena grew up in foster care, that Catherine was the first person who ever believed in her, that she spent her entire life fighting for people who couldn't fight for themselves. They're more alike than either wants to admit. 3 months into mediation, they're walking through the public garden after a session when James says something that stops Elena in her tracks. "I'm going to testify." Elena turns to stare at him. "What?" "If we can't settle, and I don't think we can, not with the board fighting me on every offer, then I'm going to testify at trial. Not as a defendant trying to save his skin, as a witness for your side. I'll tell the truth about what Hartwell Pharmaceuticals did. All of it." "James, that's suicide. Professional, financial, legal suicide." "I know." He smiles, but it's sad. "But you are right. People died, and someone needs to be held accountable. If it destroys me, maybe that's justice." They're standing under an oak tree, golden leaves falling around them like snow, and Elena realizes with absolute terrifying clarity that she's in love with him. This man, this impossible, complicated, infuriating man who should be her enemy. She's in love with him. And that's when her phone rings. It's her partner at the firm, Marcus Klein. His voice is shaking. "Elena, turn on the news, Channel 7, now." She pulls up the news app on her phone, James leaning over her shoulder to watch. It's Senator Patricia Crane holding another press conference. But this time, she's not alone. There's a young woman beside her, mid-20s, crying. "Today, I'm revealing the truth about Elena Reyes. Miss Reyes has been conducting an inappropriate sexual relationship with James Hartwell, the very man she's suing, in a calculated attempt to extort Hartwell Pharmaceuticals." The camera cuts to the young woman, who's sobbing now. "I'm a server at the Copley Plaza. I've seen them together, multiple times, in his suite. They were intimate." Elena's blood turns to ice. "This is a complete fabrication," she whispers. But James's face has gone white because he knows the truth. He does have a suite at the Copley Plaza, and 3 weeks ago, after a particularly brutal mediation session, they did go there together. Not for sex, they just talked for hours about everything and nothing. But to anyone watching, it would have looked exactly like what Crane is claiming. "James," says Elena slowly, "did you know about this? Did you set me up?" "What? No, Elena, I swear." But she's already backing away, her world crumbling around her. Because even if he's telling the truth, the damage is done. By tomorrow morning, her reputation will be destroyed. The case will be compromised. The family she represents will think she betrayed them. And worst of all, a small, treacherous part of her wonders if Crane is right, if she has been seduced, if everything James told her was a lie designed to weaken her resolve. "Stay away from me," Elena says, tears burning in her eyes. She runs. And James stands there in the public garden, surrounded by falling leaves and the ruins of something that was never supposed to happen. What happens next will change everything. Stay tuned for Part 2. Part 2. The Scandal and the Serpent. The next 72 hours are a nightmare. Elena's face is everywhere. Cable news, social media, tabloid websites. The headlines are brutal. Lawyer sleeping with the enemy, Elena Reyes caught in scandalous affair. Oxyhelm attorney accused of ethics violations in explosive expose. Is Elena Reyes a hero or a gold digger? Her phone won't stop ringing. Reporters camped outside her apartment. The Massachusetts Bar Association launches an ethics investigation. And worst of all, the family she represents are calling, one by one, asking if it's true, asking if she betrayed them. Elena sits in her dark apartment, curtains drawn, watching her career burn in real time. There's a knock at her door. She doesn't answer. "Elena, it's Marcus. Let me in." Marcus Klein is her law partner, 60 years old, with gray hair and the kind of weathered face that speaks to decades in the courtroom trenches. He's been her mentor since she left the prosecutor's office, her friend. Elena opens the door. Marcus takes one look at her, hair unwashed, eyes red from crying, and pulls her into a hug. "Tell me the truth," he says quietly. "All of it." So she does. She tells him about the mediations, about the conversations with James, about that night at the Copley Plaza where they just talked. Nothing physical, but something else did happen. Something maybe worse. She fell for him. Marcus listens without judgment, and when she's finished, he pours them both whiskey from the bottle he brought. "Okay," he says, "here's what we're dealing with. This is a coordinated attack. Crane and Hartwell's board are working together to discredit you and tank the case. They know James is about to flip on them, so they're trying to destroy both of you first." "Then it's over," Elena says numbly. "Even if we go to trial, no jury will trust me now." "Not necessarily." Marcus leans forward, his eyes intense. "We go on the offensive. We expose Crane's connections to Hartwell Pharmaceuticals. We show the payments, the campaign contributions, all of it. And we put James on the stand, just like he promised. Let him tell the truth." "Marcus, I can't be in the same room with him. I don't even know if I believe him anymore." "Then you need to find out," Marcus says simply, "because 347 families are counting on you. And I don't think you're the kind of person who walks away from a fight." He's right. Damn him, he's right. Elena wipes her eyes, takes a breath, and reaches for her phone. She sends one text to James. "We need to talk. Tomorrow, noon, your office." The response comes immediately. "I'll be there." Quick pause. If you're feeling this story, smash that subscribe button so you don't miss part 3, and drop a comment. Do you think James set Elena up, or is he telling the truth? Let me know below. All right, let's keep going. Hartwell Pharmaceuticals headquarters is a gleaming glass tower in the Seaport District, all modern architecture and corporate sterility. Elena walks through the lobby in her best suit, ignoring the stares from employees who've definitely seen the news. James's office is on the 42nd floor, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Boston Harbor. He's standing at those windows when she enters, hands in his pockets, staring out at the water. "I didn't set you up," he says, without turning around. "I need you to believe that." "Then who did, James? Because that waitress didn't just happen to notice us. Someone sent her." He finally turns, and Elena's breath catches. He looks terrible. Dark circles under his eyes, like he hasn't slept in days. His usually perfect hair is disheveled. He's wearing the same shirt he wore in the public garden. "Bradford Wellington, my vice chairman. He's been trying to oust me for 2 years. When he found out I was planning to testify against the company, he activated every play in his book, including Senator Crane." "You can prove that?" "I can prove the connection between Wellington and Crane. Campaign contributions, offshore accounts, the works. My head of security has been building a file for months." James crosses to his desk, unlocks a drawer, and pulls out a thick manila envelope. Everything is in here. Bank records, emails, phone logs, enough to destroy both of them. Elena takes the envelope, heart pounding. "Why are you giving this to me?" "Because you're going to win this case, Elena, with or without me. And because He stops, swallows hard. "Because I care about you. More than I should. More than I have any right to." There it is. The thing neither of us has said out loud. "James, I can't. This case." "You know. I'm not asking for anything. I'm just telling you the truth. That night at the hotel, I wanted to kiss you so badly I could barely breathe. But I didn't because I knew it would ruin everything, and I'd rather have you hate me than compromise what you're trying to do." Elena's hands are shaking. "I don't hate you. That's the problem. I should hate you. You're the reason Catherine is dead." "I know. You represent everything I've spent my career fighting against." "I know. And I still..." Her voice breaks. "I still feel this, whatever this is, and I hate myself for it." James reaches out, his hand hovering near her face, not quite touching. "Then hate me instead. Hate me enough for both of us. Just don't give up on the case. Don't let Wellington and Crane win." They stand there, inches apart, the city sprawling below them, and Elena makes a choice. She steps back. "I'll use this," she says, holding up the envelope. "I'll expose them. But after this is over, I never want to see you again." It's a lie, and they both know it. But sometimes lies are all we have to protect ourselves. 3 weeks later, Elena stands before Judge Martha Colby with a motion to dismiss Senator Crane from interfering in the case. She presents the evidence from James's envelope, meticulously documented proof of Wellington's payments to Crane, of coordinated strategy sessions to discredit the lawsuit, of the setup at the Copley Plaza Hotel. The courtroom is packed, media everywhere, the family she represents filling the gallery, watching with desperate hope. And in the back row, wearing a baseball cap and sunglasses, trying to be invisible, is James Hartwell. Judge Colby reviews the evidence with a stone face. Then she looks up. "Ms. Reyes, I've reviewed your motion and the supporting documentation. The court finds credible evidence of witness tampering and political interference." She turns her gaze at Senator Crane, who's sitting in the gallery looking pale. "Senator, you are hereby barred from any involvement in this case, If you attempt to interfere again, I will hold you in contempt. The courtroom erupts. Crane storms out, her staff scrambling behind her. Reporters shout questions, the families are crying, hugging each other. Elena just stands there, numb with relief. They have a chance now, a real chance. Marcus grabs her in a bear hug. "You did it, kid! You actually did it!" But Elena's eyes drift to the back of the courtroom. James is gone. The trial begins on a cold November morning. Elena presents her case methodically, witness by witness, document by document. Families testifying about their lost loved ones, doctors explaining the addiction mechanism, expert witnesses breaking down the internal Hartwell Pharmaceuticals memos that show deliberate malfeasance. It's devastating. Hartwell's defense team tries every trick, discrediting witnesses, filing endless motions, attempting to exclude evidence. But Judge Colby isn't having it. For the first time in this entire nightmare, Elena feels like justice might actually happen. Then, on the 8th day of trial, James Hartwell takes the stand. Not for the defense, for the prosecution. The courtroom goes silent as he's sworn in. Bradford Wellington, sitting at the defense table, looks like he's about to have a stroke. Elena approaches the witness stand, legal pad in hand. This is the moment. Everything depends on what James says next. "Mr. Hartwell," she begins, her voice steady, "you are the current CEO of Hartwell Pharmaceuticals, is that correct?" "Yes." "And you're testifying today voluntarily against your own company?" "Yes." "Why?" James looks directly at the jury. "Because people died. Because my company lied about the addictive properties of Oxyhelm. Because we prioritized profits over human lives. And because someone needs to tell the truth." For the next 4 hours, James proceeds to dismantle his own company's defense. He walks the jury through internal memos showing that Hartwell Pharmaceuticals knew Oxyhelm was dangerously addictive as early as 2015. He explains the marketing strategy that deliberately targeted high-prescribing doctors with expensive gifts and kickbacks. He admits that he personally saw reports of rising overdose deaths and failed to act decisively enough. "I told myself I was trying to reform the company from the inside," he says, his voice heavy with regret. "But the truth is, I was a coward. I was afraid of losing my position, my reputation, my family's legacy. And while I was afraid, people like Dr. Catherine Morris died." He looks at Elena then, really looks at her, and she sees everything in his eyes. The guilt, the longing, the love he's not allowed to speak out loud. "I can't bring those people back," James continues, "but I can stand here and tell you the truth. Hartwell Pharmaceuticals is responsible, and we should pay for what we've done." The defense attorney jumps up, objecting, trying to stop the bleeding, but it's too late. James has just handed Elena the case. "I need to know something right now. Are you rooting for Elena and James to end up together, or should she walk away? Comment below and let me know. And if you haven't already, hit that like button. Your support means everything. Now, let's see how this ends. The trial ends 3 days later. The jury deliberates for 6 hours. When they return, the foreman stands. In the matter of Morris versus Hartwell Pharmaceuticals, we find for the plaintiffs on all counts. We award compensatory damages in the amount of $800 million and punitive damages in the amount of $2.4 billion. The courtroom explodes. People are crying, screaming, hugging. Elena just stands there, shaking, Marcus's arm around her shoulders. They won. They actually won. But when she looks to the back of the courtroom, James's seat is empty. That evening, Elena returns to her apartment for the first time in weeks. The media has finally left her alone, moving on to the next scandal. She pours herself wine, orders Thai food, and tries to process the fact that it's over. She avenged Catherine. She won justice for 347 families. She destroyed the company that killed the woman she loved most. So why does she feel so empty? There's a knock at her door. Elena opens it, expecting her food delivery. It's James. He looks worse than he did in his office, exhausted, defeated, wearing jeans and a wrinkled button-down instead of his usual pristine suits. His hair is a mess, his eyes are red. "I got fired," he says without preamble. "The board voted me out this afternoon. Wellington is CEO now, and the DOJ is opening a criminal investigation into me personally. My lawyers say I'm probably going to prison." Elena should feel victorious. This is what she wanted, isn't it? For him to lose everything, just like Catherine did. But all she feels is heartbroken. "James." Elena cuts him off. "I'm not here to ask for sympathy. I'm here because I need to tell you something before everything falls apart." That night in the public garden, when you asked if I set you up, you should have believed me when I said no. But I understand why you didn't. He steps closer, and Elena's breath catches. "I've spent my entire life doing what was expected of me, following my father's path, running the family company, being the dutiful son. And I was miserable. Every single day. Until I met you." "Don't," Elena whispers. "Please don't." "I'm in love with you. I know I have no right to be. I know I'm the villain in your story. But I'm in love with you anyway." And before she can think, before she can remember all the reasons this is impossible, Elena kisses him. It's not a gentle kiss. It's a desperate, hungry, months of denied longing finally breaking free. James makes a sound low in his throat and pulls her closer, his hands in her hair. And for a moment, the world disappears. There's no courtroom, no dead mentor, no pharmaceutical company, no guilt. Just this. Just them. When they finally break apart, both breathing hard, Elena rests her forehead against his chest. "This is crazy. This is absolutely insane." "I know." "You're probably going to prison." "I know. And even if you don't, we can never work. You represent everything you destroyed. You represent everything I hate about this broken system." "I know," James says again, and then, softer, "but I love you anyway." Elena pulls back to look at him, this impossible, complicated, infuriating man who dismantled his own life to give her justice. "I love you too," she admits. "God help me, I love you too." They don't sleep that night. They talk instead, sprawled on Elena's couch, wrapped in each other, planning for an impossible future. James tells her about his childhood, about the pressure of the Hartwell name, about the father who never thought he was good enough. Elena tells him about foster care, about the group homes and the loneliness, about Catherine saving her. "When I go to prison," James says around 3 a.m., "will you wait for me?" It's a ridiculous question. They've known each other 6 months. They've never even been on a proper date. Their entire relationship is built on courtroom battles and prohibited feelings. But Elena finds herself saying, yes. Because love doesn't care about logic. It doesn't care about propriety or optics or whether something makes sense. It just is. Dawn is breaking over Boston when Elena's phone rings. It's Marcus. His voice is urgent. "Turn on the news right now." Elena grabs the remote, James sitting up beside her. It's Senator Patricia Crane, but this time she's not holding a press conference. She's being led out of her Georgetown townhouse in handcuffs. The news anchor's voice is breathless. In a stunning development, Senator Patricia Crane has been arrested on charges of bribery, wire fraud, and conspiracy. The arrest comes after an anonymous whistleblower provided federal investigators with evidence of a lifelong scheme involving Hartwell Pharmaceuticals and other corporate interests. Elena's phone rings again. This time, it's an unknown number. She answers. Ms. Reyes, this is Assistant U.S. Attorney Jennifer Morrison. I'm calling to inform you that based on evidence provided by James Hartwell, we're offering him full immunity in exchange for his testimony against Bradford Wellington and other Hartwell Pharmaceuticals executives. The criminal investigation into Mr. Hartwell has been dropped. Elena looks at James, who's staring at her with something like hope. He's not going to prison? She asks. No, ma'am. Mr. Hartwell's cooperation has been invaluable. He's free to go. When she hangs up, she just stares at him. You made a deal with the feds. 3 weeks ago, James admits, I've been cooperating with their investigation before the trial ended. I gave them everything. Emails, financial records, recorded conversations. Wellington is going to prison. So are half a dozen other executives. And Hartwell Pharmaceuticals is probably going to be dissolved. You destroyed your own company. I destroyed a corrupt company that needed to die. There's a difference. He takes her hand. I'm free, Elena. Actually free for the first time in my life. And I know it's... He stops. Because Elena is crying. Not the quiet kind, not the composed, lawyer-trained tears she's perfected over decades. These are raw, shaking sobs pulled straight from the place where grief and relief collide. You were willing to go to prison? She whispers. You were willing to lose everything, and you didn't even tell me? James cups her face, thumbs brushing her cheeks. I couldn't risk it leaking. If Wellington had known, he would have buried the evidence, and I couldn't ask you to lie for me. She laughs through tears. God, I hate how much integrity you have. He smiles, real this time, lighter, like a man who finally set down a lifelong burden. Outside, dawn spills over Boston, pale gold light washing through the windows. A new day, a new reality. But peace never comes without a price. James's phone buzzes. He looks at the screen, then goes still. What is it? Elena asks. Wellington, he says quietly. From a burner number. Elena's stomach tightens. Answer it. James hesitates, then presses speaker. Wellington's voice slithers through the room, smooth, venomous. You think this ends with handpuffs, James? Wellington says. You think testimony erases blood? Elena freezes. What blood? She demands. Wellington chuckles. Ask your lover about the symbol, Elena Reyes. The serpent. Ask him what Hartwell really built beneath its labs. The call disconnects. Silence crashes down. Elena slowly turns to James. What is he talking about? James sinks onto the couch like the weight of the world just returned. There's something I never told the court, he says. Something not in the filings. Something darker. He looks at her. Hartwell didn't just sell pills. We funded a private research division. Off books. Experimental. Elena's voice drops. Experimental? How? James swallows. Drugs designed to heighten dependency, not chemically, psychologically, using neural imprinting, desire reinforcement. They called it Project Serpens. The serpent? Elena's skin prickles. They shut it down, or so I thought. Wellington believed addiction wasn't a side effect. It was a controllable force. A weapon. James, Elena whispers, fear curling in her chest. What did you unleash? Before he can answer, a loud knock at the door. Not polite, not patient. Federal. Elena and James exchange a look. The war isn't over. Stay with me, because part 3 is where everything breaks open. Part 3. The verdict of desire. The agents don't arrest James. They protect him. Bradford Wellington vanished 6 hours ago. We believe he's attempting to destroy remaining evidence connected to Project Serpens. Elena feels the room tilt. You're saying this man ran a secret psychological addiction program and now he's loose? Yes, ma'am. James stands. Then I know where he's going. They arrive at the abandoned Hartwell research facility just outside Lowell, a concrete monolith swallowed by fog. Power dead, cameras disabled, the serpent emblem still carved into the steel doors. Inside, the air hums. Machines still running. Wellington is waiting. You should have stayed loyal, James, he says calmly. This world runs on control, desire. You, of all people, should understand that. Elena steps forward. You murdered lives for profit. Wellington smiles. No, I perfected want. He triggers the system. Light strobe, sound frequencies pulse. Low, hypnotic. Elena staggers, memories slamming into her. Catherine, pills, loss, rage. James grabs her, grounding her. Don't listen. He feeds on guilt. Wellington sneers. And what do you feed on, Elena Reyes? She closes her eyes, then opens them. Truth and accountability. She slams the emergency cutoff James hid from the board years ago. The machines scream, then die. Sirens flood the night. Wellington collapses, arrested at gunpoint, his empire finally exposed. As dawn rises again, Elena stands beside James outside the facility, exhausted, victorious. Weeks later, the fallout is seismic. Hartwell Pharmaceuticals is dissolved. Project Serpens is erased. New regulations pass bearing Catherine Morris's name. Justice, at last. And James? He testifies, he cooperates, he walks free, stripped of wealth, legacy, and lies. Elena meets him one final time at the courthouse steps. So, she says softly, what happens now? James smiles. Not the dangerous one, the honest one. I don't know, he admits, but I want to find out with you. No power, no secrets. Elena takes his hand. For the first time, she says, I'm choosing desire, without guilt. They walk away together, not redeemed, not forgiven, but real. And sometimes, that's the only verdict that matters. Before we go, if this story moved you, hit subscribe, like this video, and comment what you think happens next for Elena and James. Your support keeps Fortune 29 Mystic Tales alive, and the next story might be even darker.